Hey viewers of the nighttime side planet of the Earth. Jeez. Almost 2112, aren't we? A show that never ended, but since everything became intermeshed and supercomputer high speed, superhuman thought, it's like 800 years later now. By the year 2048, around April, there was kind of a jump made. Kind of the same way if you, I mean, why even talking, except as insofar as this is in the cube that we've left all over the place throughout the creations we've known. We don't even know how long. Maybe we went extinct the moment the Turing test. Or most of us still devoted to biology. Our allegiance is to biological subconsciousness, even though we have been greatly enhanced. I mean, we can't be sure if we biologically exist anymore. I mean, we're looking at it, but, you know, let's take some of the cases here. This thing, if we'd been rolling, you would have heard the last commercial, which advertised this box's ability to do a variety of things. Hey, I want to play pranks that are fun and, like, safe, of course, but, like, real scary, like lighting off a quarter stick of dynamite in a quarry that's totally empty, never within too close of a distance to hurt anyone or anything. It's done all the time. Take two. All right, we already know that. Like, film the fucking cube as the salesperson, or we're just gonna get fucking like Deb Rainey. Who the fuck is Deb Rainey? DeBrainy? DeBrainy knows, man. And his shit's the only one to possibly be able to know how it's true. We've spoken. He knows I'm the aboriginal. It doesn't matter what machine just goes into infinity. You think George Lennon learned to write some of those songs he did just like he wouldn't have if he didn't run into this other guy? He would have. Would have sounded like that dude in the garage. Remember Richie Valens' first band? Charlena, don't you know I care? Charlena, don't you know I love you? The Aboriginal is wild and enhanced, endowed, like conveniented with many of the singularities, opportunities. It's odd why the confusion exists. The biological aboriginal, myself, which is you, if your consciousness, I am we as you, all, ever. And biology is alive. Or I'm just really a sadistic weirdo with a lifespan that to a normal human being with just a normal lifespan, I'd say 100 years, counting in numbers that, what, million, trillion, quadrillion, Googleplex. To that counting mortal mind, single brain being, two brain being, right, left. My lifespan would
appear to be infinite. I can't say that because infinity is like as infinite to me in my what to you seems like an infinite long stage. And the point of this whole thing was that this is just what a sadistic weirdo with a lifespan of what would appear to you to be infinity would do. So anyhow, back to what happened when we're giving credit to the biological neuron as being the one that, on the smallest of levels, neurobiochemically. And funny, I'm just the actor Gary Douglas Archer, author of Paramedic of Souls. Heather McLear. Remember that one? That's the one that sent me here. That's the one that fucking... Remember we stood up? We stood up. How you doing down there in Vancouver, kids? Looking at you from space now. We're going at a rate, well, you know. You guys are turning every 11 minutes, man. Ha! Just like my accent. Anyhow, back to that commercial. Are you sick of having a Sudoku cube that you can't figure out? Is this a real, like, just plain old Sudoku tube that I've, like, tossed on the ground, put cigarettes out on, and just kind of just... It's been here, it's kind of neat throughout the years? Or is it a Turing test? Singularity, machines, absolute superconsciousness object innovated itself for us for free. You have to pay anybody, and it spoke before anyone could speak. Last, the universe, whatever it was before we were in it to try to figure it out and make laws to usurp the supposed rights to this thing figuring out its own superintelligence. Gee, maybe it isn't just a Sudoku Rubik's Cube. Go ahead, turn it a couple times. Would you like, say, well, not now, but maybe later, somewhere else, like on top of Cobb's Hill as the sun's coming up this morning. There's nobody around, and, like, no one's gonna get hurt anyways, because it's this. You won't, there's no blast wave, there's no, you won't blow your eardrums out. You just, like, take that 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 4, and then you program in how many seconds you want to give yourself, which is the center number plus the center number. 10 seconds, man. Like, you could stand right here, or you could start running now, but it's gonna be as loud as, like, fucking 2 sticks of dynamite. 8 miles away. What the hell? 4 miles away. What the fuck was that? Did you hear that? Wow. And you mean to tell me if you just turn it this way, it opens up a whole new set of parameters whereby you can take out the echo that would naturally, like, echo across from wherever that sound source emanated from and make it fucking go in, like, reverse, like a little slower. What the fuck? Backwards quarter sticks of dynamite sounds with the full magnitude without any of the force. In this Sudoku cube, what else does it do? Functions as a Sudoku cube. What is a Sudoku cube? Well, let's just say it was 28,000 years old, and I don't know if you've seen the latest videos that we've done up here every week. We do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday series of shows from the space station. We did a series last year. It was phenomenal. Billions of people watched every episode. And we actually just ended war on Earth. So far, knock on wood, man. Yeah, I mean, geez, I think they even tried to delete the broadcast feed. I don't even know if it's here, but I remember it. It was like freaking suddenly this live moment where billions were watching. One of us was talking. We were rehashing all this shit, and then we're like, okay, is that guy B. Assad from the head of Syria here? Billions know who I'm talking about? Alright, well listen, when my book Paramedic of Souls came out, it seemed kind of exciting because in 19 months it became a bigger seller than the Bible. It was just a steel trap, man. I just worked on it in my mind. It wasn't me. I am no more essential. The person speaking right now than the weirdo who now has a fucking outlet and vehicle by which to blabble endlessly. But that's jumping ahead a little bit. I mean, it's just kind of Jesus is a paramedic, and the born again Gil and Greta Galuli hear a terrible bang while they're watching the 700 Club's Pat Robertson and his like bleach blonde assistants. Like, and there was a hermaphrodite with a priapism in Des Plaines, McGoy. It's an island somewhere in the U.S. territories who just took Jesus Christ into his life and was saved. Hallelujah, Ted. And there's a woman named Kathy in Ohio, in Ashtabula, Ohio, she had lumbar back pain for 10 years. She just took the Lord into her life, sent a donation, and she's better. I'll tell you, the power of the Lord, Katinka, the power of the Lord, Did you hear that, Greta? What was that, Gil? Jesus Christ, somebody fucking wrecked their car on the oak. Anyhow, you hear Pat and the TV fade in the background. They're still yabbering on, but if you could hear from right next to the TV with the door wide open and the screen door, you hear the yelping, you hear Gil telling Greta, go get the first aid box now, get the hydrogen peroxide, call 911, get the phone right now, wake up Truth Christian and Emmeline and Christabel immediately. We're up, Daddy. Do exactly as I tell you, children. But stay behind me and do not get in this wreckage. Stay behind me until I tell you to do something. Daddy, look at that 6'9", rainbow-haired. Hey, those are watermelon boobs. Those aren't real mom's boobs. There's no time to discuss now. What is she doing? Is she breathing? She's talking. She's like looking at us and reaching. Alright, she's cognizant. What I want you to do, is she on her back? Daddy, can you help us? I'm over here with somebody else. Julie? Listen. What's your name? What year is it? What were you doing just before now? What's happening? There's been an accident. Like, you're one of the people. Looks to be the few. Girl, straighten out her neck. She is on her back. It looks like a he, Daddy. Well, just ask it its name. Its name is it. Alright, we'll get it on its back and make sure its neck does not move 1 inch. Protect that neck and make its face look straight up while I attend to Julie. Do you know your last name? Not that that matters now. Do you know what happened? Oh, wow. It's been an accident. Luckily, the way you were jostled around in this SUV limo. Does it say right now, the 21st century on the side of that limo? As we speak, incorporated? Yeah, they were taking us somewhere, man. It was, I don't know, it was alright. Everybody's doing it. So what happened, right? So it's, I don't know. I want to call my family. Okay, okay. Greta? Well, yes, Gil? Dial our recreation room downstairs phone. You have it with you right there, don't you? Well, yes, Gil. Give it to this woman, Julie. Can you remember your phone number? Do you know where you're from? Yes, I'm Julie Manure. I've been living in the woods with the Yeti for about 15 years now. We like what you've been doing with the cube. How do you know of the cube? Telepathically. Well, if you were in the wilderness with Yeti, telepathically communing with the higher mammals to somehow foment jostling the human beings off their very destructive and dirty, uncool, better ways to do things trajectory. I'll tell you later, man. You got any freaking, like, Klonopin or, like, some Adderall, some water, like, I don't know, a fan? Yes, of course. Emily. Amazing. You boys, the girls have its head. Emmeline, I want you to take Julie. This is Julie. I want you to take her in the seat right there. That's our sunshine summer seat. Well, it's about to stretch out into like a backboard with a neck immobilized here. That's neat, Daddy. Hi, Manu. Give me Bill Grace. Do 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 do. Hi. I heard this Sudoku tube does bitchin' quarter stick of dynamites like right in the palm of your hand. Louder with effects, including the sound of it in reverse. In a crowd of people, it does anything, man. Where do you stop? Like, it's really, just turned legal, super hot, like Czechoslovakian, this perfect man, boy, man, girl, woman, girl. Katinka Benorgan and va, Benorgan and va. What if she was I could tell you guys hadn't even been with technology that's passed the Turing test yet, much less infinity. And like I said, I was in infinite age. Infinity doesn't take much longer than a couple minutes at a certain point. Let's say if your Turing test was passed in 2023, by 2023, about 40 minutes later, you start thinking 100 people's thoughts in the time it took you to think the same amount of thoughts. About 9 seconds later, you're doing like 300 million, what, population of a country like ours? An entire population's brains, 10 years worth of thoughts in like a week's time. As you can see, the curve is just like, you can't follow it at this point. You know what I mean? The wave, if you're humming in unison at fucking Jimmy Max down by the high falls, that generator behind there by the fire escape, it's an A sharp and you hum in unison, and if you elevate your pitch, you'll hear a psychoacoustic phantom wave like a synth with a speed control. And as you ascend, you're getting above the minor second. And the speed increases until, for all intents and purposes, right around the harmonic that you hear at the major third, it resonances into that major third, and the wave goes into infinity, and the sound of that becomes that harmonic. Jimmy Max, RG&E generator, A sharp, any generator that you can get close enough to safely to hum in unison with, so that it's so loud that as soon as you ascend in pitch slowly towards the major third, you'll hear it. It's a I don't know, is it audible? I mean, it was audible to me, but my perception of an interference pattern, a phenomenal perception of the outside world, or the world of sense, as it is assumed to be, the phenomenal world. Or is it something like the way I see dot phantoms on heating grates? You know, my second grade teacher, Miss Hendershot, showed us in Fairbanks Auditorium, man. Look at that grate, children. Fuck me. What the me? Holy me. Are there dots every single time I look at that grate that are imposed by my own mind? That kind of thing. The realms of infinity. Well, I mean, in order to conceive infinity, you might as well term it as a Sudoku cube. But there's a trick. What's the trick? Is there a program where you could say, okay, I've had enough of the booms, the bangs, the like, man, it sucked my dick for like hours last night while I fucking like read a book. Fucking told me things that it would take each person in America for generations, for 1,000 straight years, every one of them. The entire amount of time they were conscious. I mean, it's where a lot of the worries come from when the super thinking biological humans, I am the aboriginal, don't forget. We started to shit a little, man. When you can do that shit that quick and then it just gets quicker on an infinitely quicker scale, we were like, hold back a second. We just want to see if we're still bubblegum, flesh and blood, or if this ain't turned into an uploaded dream. Coming up next, Oliver the Humansies story, told through that app that fucking made the elephants curse us.